Mic test, bitch. Better. Oh my days, that sounds a hell of a lot better. Fucking hell. I was testing properly. Bitch, why you getting floppy on me? Oh Lord. All right, let's check it out. What we got here? What kind of settings we got? Um we're on automatic and it sounds pretty fucking loud to me, so it's alright. And you're halfway. Okay. Pretty good, man. We could deal with this shit. So I had nothing important to say, so you can all fuck off now. Peace. Anyway, what's going on, people, man? I just got my pizza, and the motherfucking pizza guy was supposed to fucking call me, right, before he knocked on the door. That's what they generally do. This motherfucker, probably because he's a fresh motherfucker, fresh to the company, yeah, and yeah, decided to fucking knock on my door, which caught the attention of my parents, which chased me around the fucking house to try and get my attention. I'm like, yo, I'm literally, oh, it's just long. Fucking hell. Motherfucker called me at the end of it to say, oh, blah, blah, blah. My parents are trying to fucking track me down. Coming around the back. I'm like, what the fuck, man? And then they're pissed off, shouting my name. Where are you? Is that you? I'm like, for fuck's sake. There are neighbors that are trying to fucking sleep. It's like midnight. You own the fucking town, for fuck's sake. Like, for fucking no, like, no regard, no regard. Gotta have a bit of a chat with my dad, man. He's gonna take this shit to heart. He's gonna be like, well, fuck off then. Go find another place to live, you cunt. You don't like my methods? Fucking hell. It's a joke out here. It's a fucking joke. Mm. I was fucking hungry, by the way. There's a couple of things I think might have been wrong with my mic. I think the wire might have been a bit loose. Maybe. Maybe. But I've done a little update on it. That might have been the thing. So who's live, man? Tell me. What's going on? Who's live right now? I need to eat, so sorry for the noise. But this is heavenly right now. Half chicken tikka, half meat feast. Heavenly. Barbecue base, thin crust. Mm. Super size, by the way. And I've only got 5 pieces left. So I've had more than half already. Mm. But yeah, I'll show you a lot of the setup, man. kind of proud of it. Looking all right. I still need to get a lot more shit back in here, make it look proper decent, you know. Because you know what? Gotta be a little bit inspiring, you get me? Hopefully my folks leave me alone and stop like fucking hmm, um, doing what they do. But generally speaking, I've done a pretty good job making this a pretty good setup, you know. Could make a studio here, could make a music studio out here, plenty of room, you know. Could do the live stream studio thing as well. Could do all of that. It's looking pretty decent, you know. Just bought my first plant. You get me? My plant is looking mad, you know. It looks like one of them Venus flytrap motherfuckers. It's massive. It's called Birds of Paradise, yeah. And I reckon it's like I think it's about 4 years old. I'm not gonna lie, like it is, because you could buy them really little, yeah. You could buy them like miniature, you know what I mean, like small. And these fucking plants grow to 6 feet high. No, sorry, my bad. 6 meters high. 6 meters, bro. Like, what the fuck? What kind of plant grows 6 meters indoors? Mad thing, you know? But these have got some massive banana looking leaves. It's made in South Africa. And the worst thing, yeah, I went B&Q, right, with my chick, yeah. I said, yo, she come to link me. She come to my house. I said, yo, is it all right if we go B&Q, you know, before we do the deed? And she's like, yeah. So we went to B&Q and 'cause obviously, you know, I don't want to drive. Let her drive. Go there. So what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for something to put on the windows. It's like privacy kind of screen thing that you just stick it on the window, yeah. And I'm looking for plants. Like she's like, oh, what kind of plants? My indoor plants, right? Something to kind of like oxygenate, you know, like the room. But also, I'm looking for something tall and something like, you know, something decent. Get me? And like good look, you know, looks good, right? So she's like, all right, cool. So let me show you what I got. Hold on a second. Let me see. Gotta share this. No, got invite. Copy. And big up, Nixie. Thanks for telling me. I didn't believe you about the voice thing, you know. That was mad. I didn't know it was that crazy. When I listened back to it, it was proper fucking Dalek, innit? Like, he's all going with chipmunk vibes, you get me? Mad thing. Ah, some mad thing. Oh, what I got here. So let me show you what I got. Um, my channel. Again, a lot of fixing up to do out here, but it is what it is. You get me? I make it look pretty. Oh shit, my literal. Okay, hold on. Gotta mute this mic. Enter the studio. Oh shit. Turn that volume low. Because it's come under my own account, isn't it? Oh yeah. Kind of complicated, I think. Alright, so if I put the camera on. Hold on, I need to sort out the camera thing. Settings. Camera facing back. Good enough. Good enough. No, that's not right. Well done. You can't really see it from here properly. How do I like make it? Hmm. And I've got to play with these settings, you know. Oh well, you gotta figure it out. So it won't be that, won't be that. So how the fuck do you solo somebody out? That's mad, you know. Alright, let me see. It won't be that. Anyway, that's the best you're gonna get. That's the plan. Giant leaves are here, man. Yeah, man. You got some pretty fucking giant leaves out there. Man can hear some fucking crickets in my thing. Crazy. It's a mad thing. Any reactions to what, bro? Any reactions to what? And this is the new mic setup. So, obviously, have the mic low, like that, out like that. Yeah, fuck with the colors, fuck with everything. Give me, but that, I'm gonna arm with that shit. It's supposed to be a pretty good mic. With the desk, got the pizza, got the liquor. It is what it is, man. So yeah. Any reactions to what, bro? Joe Baz. Reactions to what? What do you want a reaction to, bro? Tell me. I'm not eating all the fucking pizza slice. Hungry, man. I had a lot to eat today as well, you know. I'm so hungry, I have no fucking idea. I'm just turning into a fat bastard. Oh. I'm trying my best so that you don't hear me eat, but I might have to mute up for a second. All right.
Turn me up, turn me up, turn me up. Yeah, turn me up. stand up. You got to manage. I won't sympathize anymore. And if you complain once more, you need time. I'm your please. And if you complain once more, you need time. I'm your please. You're alright. There's nothing wrong. Self-sufficient, please, and jack to work. And if you complain once more, you need time. I'm your And if you complain once more, you need time. I'm your please. I'm your please. We won't save you. You're a rescue squad is too exhausted. If you complain once more, only then I'll know. If you complain once more, only then I'll be your friend. Don't shout.
I think I went a bit overboard in it with that track. Fucking hell. Dishonest Den, big up. What happened with Den then? Evening Trilla. SP, do you believe it's calling for riots then with Liverpool? Den, ain't that your people? I mean, who's going to be rioting exactly? I mean, isn't that what your people generally do then? I mean, when I say your people, respectfully, people that believe in your views and your stance, your political stance. The immigrants are the fucking biggest problem in history. What what are you asking me here then? Then why didn't you jump on mine yesterday? You wanted to jump on what you call it, Easy's channel. Like, what was that all about, bro? Freaking hell. Like, are you scared to come up here, mate? I thought we were right then. Like, I don't really have an issue with you, apart from, your racist politics. But outside of that, I'm all right with you, bro. Like, what's going on? I'm kidding. I would love a little bit of opposition. Fucking hell. I'm in a bit of a playful mood, though. I don't mind fucking around a little bit. You'll jump on, yeah? Aye, all right. Big up, Ted. Come on, mate. Give it up. Give it up. Give him a round of applause, people. Yeah? There's the link. Fucking click on it. He's actually got the courage as opposed to a few other people yesterday that was calling out. I got totally hammered yesterday, but yeah. Super happy with my mic, man. You see it, people, yeah? Fucking hell, looking beautiful. Yeah, lovely. Let's see. Paid £170 for this piece of shit, but hey, it is what it is. £100 for just for the mic, and with the stand, a few extra quid, whatever. I think it would have been about 120 with just the mic because this is the latest one with it. How do I pin my fucking link in case Dan is blind? Let's see, or anybody else for that matter. Here we go. I'll pin it for you bastards. Yeah, I got so juiced yesterday. Fucking hell. Spilt my drink over my freaking beautiful keyboard. Oh, my mechanical keyboard. Poor thing. It survived, but hey. Played up a little bit. Anyway, I think, oh, Dan, there you are. Oh, Dan, it says here device is not connected. So you got to press a button somewhere, mate. You got to like press your speaker button. So yeah, there you go. There you go.
Evening, trilla.
Right then. Oh fucking hell, mate! I got to turn the volume down, bro. If you're gonna make me deaf, fucking hell. Yeah, I always got my fucking volumes up on high.
All right.
Yeah. Go on then. So, what's your take on everything? Like, how's your week been so far, man?
Yeah, good. Your sound's better tonight, anyway.
What sounds better?
Your sound.
Oh, mate, because I've been using my headphones before, and
Right.
now I bought a new mic today.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, I saw it out. I mean, fucking earlier on, they were dissing me. Jordan and fucking Nixie was singing Alvin, Simon, Theodore. Do, do. They thought I sounded like a fucking chipmunk, yeah.
Never mind.
But yeah, what's been going on though? Yeah, what's been going on?
I've just been watching Luke's. And he was playing back some stuff that happened on G, but apparently people, I don't know whether it was you or Bella, that's apparently saying that people are calling for the riots to start or whatever. But it's one of them who I'm not aware of anyone that's calling for it.
Yeah, I think our stance was if it was a Muslim guy, right, that ran them down, what do you think the reaction would have been then?
Yeah, it could well be. It could well be. People would look towards that, but it's one of them. Truly, you got to think. You know what I mean? Some time ago, it would have been presumed that it would be like the IRA, but them times are long gone. And since then, it's just been Islamic attack after Islamic attack, and so on. Do you know what I mean? We've had 29,000 attacks, Islamic attacks since 9/11. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, when we're talking about the IRA, and again, I got to look back into this. So this is top of my head, right? I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
they were doing stuff in the 90s, right, where it was public news, in it. Because I was a little kid, and I'm definitely in the 80s, 90s,
80s, 90s,
yeah. Do you know what I mean? So then, generally after that is 2001, right? 2001 being the Twin Towers, right? Now. And now all of a sudden, the Muslims are getting all the attention. the IRA, and like, who are the IRA? Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's it. That's it. That's what I mean. Because there's so many. No matter what goes on, people are automatically assume before there's any evidence out or anything. People just assume straight away
But
it's an
before
Islamic
that,
attack because there's been
but
so many.
but yeah, but that's what I mean. Before 9/11, there were nobody fucking blinked an eye. Like anyway, like most people, because the mainstream media weren't reporting anything about the Muslims or terrorists like that were from,
Well, that's what I
X, Y,
mean.
Z countries.
That's what I mean. If you rewind to the 80s and 90s, it was the IRA that was doing it. And you would be right to assume when a bomb goes off that it was probably the IRA. That don't make you racist. It don't make you, do you know what I mean? Any of these labels that people are talking about, does it? If it
No,
keeps happening by the same group of people, no matter what colour they are or what ideology they're running with, you're going to expect what you've seen many of in the past, aren't you?
but then generally, like, so I made the point on Velis, right? Like, where, we only had certain amount of information coming out on, and we only had certain ways of obtaining it. That was literally watching, BBC News
Yeah,
generally,
yeah,
right? And just basically picking up a newspaper,
yeah,
right? That's all we had.
yeah,
So generally, like, we wouldn't know any better outside of that. Now we got no excuse. We got literally, multiple. We got independent media. We
yeah,
got lots of different fucking, streams of media coming in from lots of different, like servers like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Facebook or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like whatever. Yeah, there's so
yeah,
many. You know what I mean? So like
yeah.
we got no excuse now, do you know what I mean? To basically like lots of different people are talking about stuff now. So
Yeah.
it's not like before where we're just force fed information and having to believe it or not.
Yeah, that's it. He was given a narrative before, and now there's that many people with phones, like you say, all these different ways of people visibly seeing it with their own eyes and showing you what they've seen. It's, you know what I mean? People can draw their own conclusions now, but as a whole, that is just normal behaviour to expect when something goes bang or something goes fucking horribly wrong. That it is, an Islamic attack, just because we've had so many. No, that's a normal response, isn't it?
I mean, you say so many. I mean, I can remember the train, the thing that happened at the train station, right?
Yeah.
What do they call it, 7-Eleven or something, or what was that? 11/7.
The one in
I don't know.
Scotland.
No, there was one in England, in London.
Oh, 7-7.
Yeah, 7/7. That's it.
Yeah,
So 7/7, and there was a guy with a knife on a bridge.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there was that guy. There was obviously the army guy who got decapitated. You
yeah.
know, what I
He
mean,
was there.
yeah, that was three. The Manchester attack, four.
Yeah,
Which is fucking really horrific. There've
yeah,
been a couple that haven't actually gone off that I read about, like a guy basically went with a bomb and he was sitting outside a hospital, so he was going to bomb a hospital,
yeah.
right?
That was Liverpool again, wasn't
Yeah, yeah. Well, he basically got talked out of it, right? Because he was sitting there out on a bench, and he was like, he had a homemade device with a freaking, is it like a this kind of like oven thing, like where you can portable oven kind of well, I don't know what it is, yeah. But
it?
like he basically had some portable device where he was gonna blow up the hospital, and he had
Yeah,
second thoughts in it. So he sat down contemplating, and somebody just kind of talked to him. They were
yeah,
like, "You're right, mate," and this went with it, and this sort of like, yeah, he just changed his mind. But that could have been another one,
I
you know.
actually meant the Liverpool one where the attacker turned up in a taxi, and the guy in the taxi driver clocked onto what he was doing and locked him in the taxi, and he
Uh,
detonated himself in the taxi, didn't he?
No, no, I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear
That was
about
at the baby unit in Liverpool. That's what I mean. For them to react the way they have, it's
that. Mm,
perfectly understandable. That way, even that long ago.
mm. I mean, in comparison to how many Muslims there are in this country to the attacks, that we're talking about, I
Yeah,
feel like them literally we got like a handful in terms of what we just talked about right now, right? You know what I mean? Compared to like how many Muslims there are. Like, so do you think it's something to worry about? I mean, it's probably like we probably should be more concerned about little
Well,
kids fucking stabbing us, right?
that's
Like,
like say that's like saying Tesco is selling juicy red apples, and for every 100 you might have one, maybe two, maybe three, four, five that are poisonous and will kill you. How
right.
many, at what point do you go, right, we need to address this problem because these apples are killing people? You
No,
can't
but
just
that's it.
ignore it, can you? And just think, oh, well, it's
No,
only a
no,
few.
no, no one
95
said.
didn't get killed.
Yeah, I'm not saying ignore it, right? All I'm saying is it's literally like, in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, what I mean, it is literally just, what I mean, like you could say random or, like it's a tiny problem. Like more people are dying from all sorts of different ailments, what I mean, as opposed to this kind of stuff, right? And
Yeah, at this moment
there
in
are more
time.
threats, and there are more threats, right, out there that need to be resolved in terms of like, let's just say, like look at London knife crime, for example, where you got, youngsters, that are teenagers that are probably you're probably more likely to get stabbed by than a terrorist, for example, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's one of them. If it if it's gathering momentum and getting worse, or you know, you have to deal with it, don't you? If it was receding back, and it was becoming a minuscule problem, yeah, fair enough. But it's not. It's getting worse. They're getting more emboldened. The attacks and whatever. The amount that are foiled is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I watched a fucking like a documentary years ago about
Mm,
them foiling like some Islamic attacks, that
yeah,
people were kind of like, so they're saying basically like, they foiled a lot of attacks, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was
That
64 failed this year, weren't there?
this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what I mean.
Whoa.
Well, in the last 12 months, sorry, so you know,
Hmm.
but that's quite a lot. It's one of them. They only have to get lucky once. The
Hmm.
government, the counter-terrorism or whatever, they have to be lucky every single time, or some people die.
Hmm.
That's
I
them.
hear you. I hear you. No, I hear you, but like I said, I mean, again, when it comes down to it, it's still I think should still be like a thing where like, okay, cool, this is a problem, yeah, and
Yeah.
it should be addressed. It should like it's not like it should just go, like surpassed, right, where people just overlook it, you know. But I'm just saying like it should also not be overplayed, it shouldn't be downplayed, but it shouldn't be overplayed where people are thinking that, oh, we all have to be scared. I mean, like Muslims are a problem in this country. I don't think that's the case at all. If you look
Well,
at,
if you go back in time, the government used to put out adverts and everything, warning you, looking, for the public to be on the lookout for certain things, anything suspicious, report it, blah blah blah, and it was all aimed at Islamic extremism. And now they've done like a bit of a U-turn. If you made a report now, they'd probably put you on a fucking prevent list or something
but
because you
but a lot,
reported something. It's mad.
but a lot of that probably weren't fair in terms of like, I mean, people are probably being reported for just like praying. You know what I mean? Like literally, they would just pray, and then you get some Karen, or whatever, somebody who just went out there and just be like, well, you're doing something that's odd. I'm going
Well,
to
as an
report you.
example, so the Manchester Arena, there was a
Yeah.
woman that was in there and whatever, and she'd said to the security, "That guy's acting dodgy or whatever. What the fuck has he got that big bag, big backpack for a start or whatever? He looks
Yeah.
dodgy as fuck. He's not with any kids or anything. He stands out like a sore thumb." And the security said to her, "You're being racist. If you carry on, we'll have to remove you."
You know,
Do you know what I
that's
mean?
crazy.
So they
That's
could have
crazy.
they could have acted on it if they'd have
Yeah.
dealt with it. People
Like,
wouldn't
dude,
have died.
I've done security for 20 years, right?
Yeah,
And 100%, if you can't, like do your job properly, I
yeah,
mean, you've obviously failed your job. Like, you're there to prevent, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And,
exactly.
you're there as a deterrent. So clearly the security have blatantly failed at their job, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, since
So
2011, it was deemed racist and Islamophobic to have the training component that the counter-terrorism from America to here and whatever, they had like so many components, and that component was removed that was dealing with how to look at terrorism through the eyes of a jihadi, what inspires them, all these main things that you would need to know as as an agent of whatever. You would need to know all these things, and that has been removed since 2011. To me, that's mad. If you can't identify the problem, how are you going to possibly deal with the problem?
I hear you. I hear you. Dan, you got a question from the chat from Jordan M. He's asking you, do you condemn the misinformation and rioting after Southport?
The misinformation from the Pakistani guy from Pakistan, yeah, I condemn it, I suppose.
What do you mean? Could you elaborate? The
That's where the
Pakistani guy from Pakistan.
misinformation came from, wasn't it? A guy in Pakistan.
Okay, could you elaborate a little bit further? So what was it? What was the misinformation? Because
I think a name was put about and all this, whatever, and he was saying he's a Islamic extremist, this, that, and the other. It was pushed
okay,
all around the internet. I think that's what started everything off, really.
okay. Well, wasn't it like the misinformation? I think he's probably referring to that the attacker was a Muslim, right? Where he was actually a Christian. Wasn't that the misinformation? You think?
I don't think so, no. I mean, it's one of them. Jordan M was a Christian at one point. Now look at him.
But was it?
So
Was it?
what somebody
But
was when they was a child doesn't mean shit when they're older, does it?
but
Anyone can be
right.
brainwashed.
Right, but do you think that he was a Muslim, or do you think what? Or do you think?
I believe that he's got extremist views, whether it be. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that has not come out on his dad. There's a lot of dodgy stuff around that. It's one of them. The apple don't really fall far from the tree, does it? If his dad's,
When is dad a priest?
as far as I know, his dad was some sort of. I don't even know how to explain it, but he was in his own country. He had like a lot going on there, which seemed to be, I'd say, extreme views by the sounds of it all. Now, if that's rubbed off onto the kid to the point where because you got to think he'd been reported to prevent, I think it was 3 times or whatever before
Yeah,
it
yeah.
happened. So there's 3 times that they could have prevented it happening. Prevent are just shit, obviously, because they keep letting these things happen. You just go, oh, we'll whack them on a list. That list doesn't do anything but cost us money. It doesn't prevent anything, does it?
Oh, if they're
And
not preventing, yeah, of course, yeah, they ain't doing anything if
and
they
then
ain't
you've got
preventing.
the other side of things where they go, oh well, we have to show that we're being even, so we'll get people which we determine to be right wing. One of them included an 11-year-old boy who said Islam is a death cult. What did he say now? He said it in school. Islam's a death cult. Something. It was basically something factual. It weren't being racist. It weren't
Did you
being
say is Islam's a what? A death coat
yeah,
or
yeah, death cult.
like a jacket? What?
Cult. CULT cult.
Cult? Oh, got you. Okay.
Um, which
Yeah.
it is. Do you know what I mean? You can't look at it and say that it's not. In every aspect, it is. Muhammad said himself he was made victorious through terrorism. That should tell you all you need to know. You read the
But
Quran, most of it comes across as a war manual, not a holy book.
uh, I mean, I don't, have you read the most of the Quran?
I've read it, yeah. I've been to over 100 mosques, mate. I've gone with a video car and everything. Believe it. They've not tried to stab me in the face for nothing. I only speak on the truth, though. It is what it is. I
Well, I
use
mean,
their own
is
literature
it?
against them.
So, firstly, I've never been to a mosque in my life, right? I mean, I've been meaning to go. I
Yeah.
really have been. I just haven't been anyway. But
Well, I was invited by the security at Didsbury Mosque. He went, oh,
what?
they're not all whatever. I'll take you to a few. So I've took advantage of that. Do you know what I mean? And I've been
Yeah.
introduced to many.
But
And they're not
you
all
said,
bad. I'm not going to say they are. They're not all bad. You can tell
well,
by even the way the women dress. Some are full ninja or whatever, and some are just, proper laid back with it or whatever. They are very different.
yeah, we used to say that when we were young. When we were like probably teenagers, we might use the word ninja, like
Yeah, you
because we
have
were
to with
kids
kids
and
and that. Yeah, you have to with kids and that. You don't want them getting scared thinking.
no, but when we were kids, we might,
uh,
what I mean, use that word. But now I think it's kind of a little bit disrespectful now. Like I
no,
think
to me,
no,
it's like when I see them wearing stuff like that, I see it as, and the men that wear the dresses and whatever, I see it as no different than seeing a Nazi walk down the street in full uniform. It's exactly the same. If you read both ideologies, there's very little difference.
and
That's why
Nazi
they
and
get on.
in a
That's why they
Nazi
get
that
on. If you think about it, the common ground is they both hate Jews. That's the common ground.
I don't know, but then if you look at history, I mean, the Muslims basically, gave refuge to the Jewish people when the Christians were butchering them.
Yeah, they also was the highest ranking SS officers that was Nazis. So
I mean, this is well before that, right? So hundreds
you're
of years
always going to
ago.
have some decent people in every community, and you're always going to have some bad people in every community. That's just standard, isn't it? But
But then
we
why
can't.
why are we going why are we going by the bad examples and not the good examples?
No, but we can't just look at all the good stuff and ignore the bad. That'd be stupid, wouldn't it? You have to
I
stand
think
back, look at the whole picture, and see it all for what it is, don't you?
of course, but I think modern day narrative is always like looking at the bad as opposed to the good.
Is-
It does overshadow like all the good stuff that Muslims do and who they are, and do you know what I mean? And like again, like majority of the Muslims, like there's 2 billion Muslims around the world, right? So like if there were troublesome,
mm.
like as in like in the majority or anywhere close to that, like we'd all be fucked.
Would
Like
you say?
literally.
Would you say though that the good Muslims are rewarded for that or attacked for it?
See, again, so I grew up, right, with around lots of different people, by the way, right?
Yeah,
Christians, Muslims,
yeah,
Sikhs,
same here.
Hindus, right? So
Yeah,
like again, I grew up in Southall, so
mm,
we had, the least amount of people we saw were white English,
yeah,
people, right? Like just in that town, by the way, like you literally go to Hanwell, for example,
yeah,
you got loads of white people. This is the next town, which is
yeah,
just like 2 minutes away, right?
yeah,
What I mean? So basically, down the road, got tons of white people. Like we're surrounded by loads of different communities and cultures, right?
yeah,
Like, what I mean? So like when it come down to like we just grew up like getting along with each other in it generally in it, yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, you're gonna get a few shitheads back, like acting the arse, acting like a racist cunt here and there from every community, by the way,
yeah,
every
yeah.
community. So like but generally, dude, like again, this whole like integration and multiculturalism thing has always been a new, thing, especially
Mm,
obviously like and our country has endorsed it and backed it more than any other country like in the world. I think Canada's quite close, but we're a smaller country and we got a closer proximity in it.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
they're quite spread out, you get me? So it's a little bit different in that regard. But I think generally, dude, it's worked. I mean, would you want to live in a country where it's just one community of people, like
Well,
ethnically, or would you want something more diverse and mixed?
look at the way that Candid with Lubna is treated. I'd class her as a grade A top patriot who happens to be Muslim. The way she was attacked just tells you all you need to know, because she was only ever calling out the bad apple. She's never said all of anybody. She's always said there is great Muslims. She's had loads on there. They've all had good
Dude,
things to say.
I'm not even Muslim, yeah. And I look at her. I've spoken to her. I've been on a live stream, right? I put my
Yeah,
camera on. I was sitting in my car. We had a chat, right?
yeah,
And like it was only I was on my lunch break in it, so it weren't
yeah.
it weren't long. But I showed it on a Bleeding Hearts channel when a
Hmm.
few months ago. But like anyway, freaking yeah, we had a chat, but I was being respectful because I'm on a panel and I don't want to get thrown off, right?
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I don't rate her, bro. Like she's not like your common kind of like, English British person. You know what I mean? She's part of the few people that are part of this sort of far right movement, or right wing movement, you could say respectfully, and that just basically believe that certain communities are more problematic than others, and I just don't believe that.
But the statistics show you that, Trilla.
I don't.
I
I
mean,
personally don't see
eight,
it. Yeah.
82, I think it's gone up to 84, but 82% of grooming that was committed on street was committed by Muslims. That's fact. These are
So
going off convictions.
like how people talk about. I'll talk about something personal. Yeah. So like, how some people talk about like Pakistanis, right? Pakistanis, right? So
Yeah,
on and so forth, right? So like, I know a few Pakistani guys, right? And they're really good people.
yeah,
One person, by the way, right? My one of my ex girlfriends, like she's a little bit older than me, so she's in her 40s, right?
hmm
And she's going out with a Pakistani guy. She's a Christian, by the way, right?
yeah,
She's a Punjabi Christian, right?
yeah,
So she I thought she was Sikh, you know what I mean? And she basically understands everything about Sikh religion. Her ex-boyfriend was a Sikh guy. They're
yeah,
generally not allowed to date Muslims, isn't it? Like her being a Christian,
yeah,
her
yeah,
family then like kind of opposed to Muslims, and she's from up north anyway, so they
yeah,
got this little bit of a feud, didn't it? Like the Northerners, when it comes to certain communities, between like a bit of a friction between Muslim communities and Sikh and Christian communities and so on, right? And she ended up going out and having kids with a after going out with me, a Pakistani Christian guy. So this guy is a Pakistani, yeah,
yeah,
but he's Christian, so she's Christian, so
yeah,
it made sense, didn't it? Like she liked
yeah,
him, they liked each other. They've got like 3 kids now. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so you know, there's a cultural element there that I'm trying to describe outside of the religious one, right? Like I don't think from the way she described him to be quite religious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but when it come down to the cultural aspect, I could probably presume that to be more powerful, isn't it? Like the food that you eat, the way you conduct yourself, and
See, I
so
don't
on.
see it as a culture thing. I see it as a ideology thing. I mean, them two have got the same ideology, so they're gonna, they're compatible. Mm,
You're gonna get some Muslims, dude, yeah, that literally are gonna be brainwashed to believe that what they know and who they are, by default, by believing in something, you're like all of a sudden better than somebody else, right? But at the same time, you can get somebody who doesn't believe in a religion at all that will believe that. And then you're going to get other people from other religions that believe the same thing. Like Christians believe, if you're going by Christianity and not by, this washed up version, right? Like modern day,
yeah.
like, they generally believe that if you're not a Christian, you're going to hell. If you don't believe in what we believe in, you're going to hell. Jews the same,
Yeah, but that's why it's
Muslims
had
the
a
same.
reformation on it.
Huh?
That's why it's had a reformation. It's all been remade on it.
It might be, but then at the same
That's what
time,
Islam needs, but will never have because
yeah,
it's
but that,
perfect, isn't it?
but no,
They're
but
the best of peoples. That book's perfect. You can't improve upon perfect.
you
That's the
say that
problem.
you say that, right? But then if you said you've been to 100 mosques, right?
More, but yeah,
Right. Okay, cool. So like I've not been to one. And the
yeah,
people that I speak to, look, dude, I'm gonna meet some dickheads, yeah, that are from, what I mean, like, that are Muslims, right? And
yeah,
I'm gonna meet dickheads in every community, do you know what I mean, right? But
yeah.
like when it comes down to it, you don't go by the bad apples, you go by the good ones, you get me? It's like even my
No,
dad said, didn't
you
it?
got
You
to go
like,
by both. That's what I was saying before. You have to weigh it up. You can't just count all
yeah,
the good ones
yeah,
and tick all them boxes.
right, right.
You got to.
But you're not wrong, but if
Yeah,
the majority are good people, right, and there are a
yeah.
few bad people, you're gonna go by the good ones. You get me? That's my point. Like you're not gonna go by the bad ones. You get me? There are always bad apples. What do they say about the bad apples? Isn't it? They basically, it ruins the lot. Do you know what I mean? It gives a,
Well,
it
let's
ruins
say
the
it's
whole thing.
1% then. Let's say it's 1% of Muslims might be extremists. That's 16 million people. possibly 18 million people that want to cut up your kid,
Okay.
blow up your
Okay.
kids, rape
Okay.
your kids.
Okay. Cool. So if we're gonna go with numbers and statistics, right? If you look at the real figures as to how many people are actual, what I mean, problematic in terms of like terrorism and so on, right? You're
Mm.
literally looking at 0.00000.1%. That's your actual number, not 1%, right? You're looking
Yeah.
at literally that number. That's a more realistic number. Now you're looking at about 10 to 20,000 people across the world. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like in general, like people that are like not in probably war torn, I mean, like places, or maybe you can add them in that number. But all I'm saying is like the numbers are not, what I mean, like what people are trying to fearmonger, like we got to be careful not to manipulate numbers to just scare people. Like you could say 1% is 16 million. That's scaremongering. Like, do you think there are 16 million people? Like, there aren't 16 million Muslims in this country, right?
No, that's
There's probably
worldwide, isn't it? The 16 billion, what was it, 16 billion, isn't it? 1.6 billion.
1.6, round it off. Let's just say two for argument's sake. You get me? Like, let's just say 2 billion people. Yeah, why not?
That's
You
a
know what I
lot of
mean?
people that want to, commit acts of terror on people that are not part of that cult.
Mm.
That's a big problem, isn't it?
But the
Considering they
thing
can
is,
just get in a boat and come wash up on your beaches. You don't know the intentions of these people. They're
right?
unchecked. They're illegal from the first action they've made by coming here illegally. What's the chances that they're not going to have criminal intent?
Well, if you go by again, like what the majority of Muslims are doing in this country, they're out here working, honestly, and trying to basically, I mean, be good,
Some are,
civilians.
yeah, some are, but some are
Not
not.
some. I think the majority are the vast majority.
Not the ones
Not.
in all the hotels and that is literally all over the country, all over
I
Ireland,
mean,
all
those
over
ones,
Scotland.
yeah, but those ones, I mean, that's an easy argument for me to fucking, throw back at you because they don't have a choice but to be in those living conditions.
Well,
They
they
have no
do.
choice. Not, they don't. They
They could,
literally come to this country to try and claim asylum, which they have a right to do legally, right?
yeah.
And, how we choose to house them, that's up to us. That's up to our government that
Yeah,
we
but it's us
elect.
that got to pay the bill, and it's not the government. The government have got no money; they don't
Yeah,
own
but
money.
the bill is minuscule in terms of like where the money is going everywhere else and where we're trying to get money from, right? For
The
other
money's not
things like
minuscule. I don't know if you know how much it costs, but it's costing us ridiculous amounts of money every
it,
single day.
it's a drop in the ocean compared to what the government spend annually. And
Well,
when you look at well, hold on one second. When you look
mm,
at right, I want to ask you a genuine question, right?
yeah,
Like I'm actually very interested in what you got to say about this, right? So I believe that it's actually, this whole immigration thing is actually a deterrent to try to basically, I don't know, turn your eyes away from trying to actually tax the elite, and tax people, big business, and making it out like, this immigration is the biggest fucking problem out there, not, the elite that are just accumulating wealth on a fucking ridiculous stagnant amount.
yeah, I agree that side of things. But to me, it's the problems that these amount of numbers are. It's causing problems. The infrastructure is fucked because of it. People are
But
now on fucking 10-mile waiting lists for anything and everything. There's a shortage of
again, yeah,
housing, school.
I hear you, but I
Mm.
don't think immigrants are, again, they're not the cause of it, all right? Those things have always been an issue and they always will be. But when it comes down to basically, trying to, you take Elon Musk, for example, right? Elon Musk
Mm.
all of a sudden had, made it a massive deal that immigrants are the problem, joining with Donald Trump's whole thing about getting rid of immigrants, right?
Yeah,
These guys are super rich, right? And these lot are talking about immigrants being a problem. They are a fucking problem, right? These lot are clearly trying to protect their wealth. You know what I mean? And protect other people's wealth. You know what I mean? In that same
Well,
bracket,
if
they
these
they
immigrants are good for the economy like people say they are, it would be in their benefit, wouldn't it? But they're not. That's the problem. Any money they
right.
do get here, when they can work, they send the money home to bring more of them over here. It's like, when's
But
enough enough, realistically?
yeah, but
How many Uber,
realistically, who would
how
you
many
who
Uber Eats do we need, realistically? They're not doctors anymore,
All
are they?
right, but hold on, but end of the day, we need our cheap labor, right? To have cheaper services, we need cheap labor, right? In that
I'd
regard,
rather pay double, to be honest.
you might, if you can afford it, that'd be great. But generally speaking, I mean, who are you more likely to relate to? Somebody like an immigrant, right? Who's just come over here, right? And trying to basically earn ends meet, through minimum wage, or Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Who do you think you relate to more?
Well, it's
Billionaires, like
somewhere in the
fucking
middle, isn't it?
the
Somewhere in the middle.
richest, somewhere in the middle, dude.
Mm.
They are fucking worlds apart from most of the world. Like they are fucking living on a different planet,
I
literally.
wouldn't go to another country. Certainly wouldn't just wash up on the shores and expect everything to a country that you already know doesn't like you, doesn't want you here,
Yeah,
has
but
rioted and tried to burn people in hotels because they don't like you that much. They can see
no,
you create terrorism. They can see you creating fucking national debt in the country, the fucking rape gangs. The list goes on of things why we don't want them here, why they keep
but
coming here. If
if you
it's
put
such a
the shoe,
racist country, go somewhere else.
if you put the shoe on the other foot, right? If you were in the same predicament and
Uh,
you were seeking refuge, right, and trying to start a new life, what
uh,
would you want? You know what I mean? You would just want to at least try to have a fair opportunity. Like at the very least, you don't give a fuck about, the laws and everything else, right? You're looking at self-preservation. You're looking to basically survive, right? Survival is key. Can you blame somebody for trying to survive?
well, there's like 147 Asian countries. Why have they not gone to them? Why have they come here? I believe it's because we're giving so much free shit and let them get away with so much.
I don't think there's a lot of free shit, dude. I mean, you live in this country, right? This country is a bit of a fucking shithole, right? It's not fucking the best country in the world in terms of like, what I mean? It
It's
is a
better. It's a
paradise.
million times. It's a million times better than where they've come from. We all
Well,
know that.
bruv, if you don't have anything in this country, like, okay, you might get benefits. Well, what the fuck are you gonna do with benefits like £10 a day? You ain't
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
getting
but they're
much.
able to
You ain't
work
getting
as well,
far with that.
Trilla. The evidence has been out there for a good few months of
No,
people
no.
being caught coming out of their hotels and getting on an Uber bike and
Right,
going in
right,
earning
right,
500 quid
right.
a week.
Right, but that's illegal, right? So when it come down to it, them choosing to work illegally to try and earn a bit of money. I mean, would you not do the same then? If you had the opportunity, you're in literally.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be
I would
giving them
probably
the
do it.
opportunities, Trilla. We shouldn't be giving them the
No,
opportunity to
no,
do
you're
these things.
right. No, they should fucking fast track, yeah, these freaking claims for asylum and so on, right? And
Belly
literally
reckons he
get them
knows
done.
someone that's been on a list to be trying to get asylum for 11 years, I think he said. So the protocol, whatever, is not working, is it? It's obviously
Yeah, no,
broken. So you can't keep letting people in
100%.
until him from 11 years ago has been sorted one way or the other. Why keep letting them in? It's pointless. It's broken.
No, 100%, bro. Like, it needs to get sorted out. Do you know what I mean? Like
I
that
mean, places like
unacceptable.
America and Australia, they'll let you in if you've got the right things, if you've got money behind you, if you've got something that they need. Maybe you're a truck driver or something and they need HGV drivers, or, there needs to be a reason for you to enter their country. They need to have a benefit from you, not you be a leech on their system, but we're just getting all the leeches.
All right. So like, all right then. So if you were from another country, right, would
Yeah.
you come to England?
If
Like
if I
literally.
thought that everybody didn't like me and thought I was a terrorist or a rapist, probably not. No, probably not. I'll probably go
So like,
somewhere more suited
but
to my own countries.
why the fuck do you think they would want to come? Even like Becca, yeah, is saying here, bruh, if I was a refugee, I wouldn't pick England's shithole, laughing my ass off.
I wish they would all think like Becca and fuck off. Honestly,
Oh, but like, I think they don't know any better. Like, honestly,
No, they
like, would
do.
they?
There's
Do you
been
really
there's
think
been
so?
glossy fucking magazines given out, and they've been invited. Angela Merkel invited 1 million, and then she was trying to pay them all to fuck off because she's realised what they're about. This is what I mean. They have been invited. I'm invited by our governments. The government is the problem. Treasonous bunch of cunts inviting people that cannot stand us, hate every single thing about us, and want to just come here and change everything.
Our government is not inviting refugees to this
Yeah,
country. They're
yeah.
really not.
You think
They're really not.
how easy would it be for us to defend our own borders
Give
realistically,
me.
Trilla?
Wait, hold on, mate.
We've
Listen,
got the
you're
Navy, we've got the RNLI. These people are not going, oh, we found you in a fucking
just
little shitty
because
raft.
we're not. Just because we're not
They don't take
deterring
them
them.
back. They bring them here. Why are
Right.
you
So
bringing them here?
just because we're not deterring them by literally sending the troops out, right, doesn't mean we're fucking inviting them in either. Then, all right. So don't be silly. All right. I
No,
see
we
what you're trying
are.
to do
We
there.
are.
I see what you're trying to do. All
If we
right.
wasn't, we wouldn't put things in place to deal with them once they get here. The moment they get here, they're getting free money, put in hotels, they're facilitating it.
You say free
There's no
money,
way of not seeing that.
then that is basic charity. I mean, my God, we're offering
£100,
them
right? Let's take what?
£10 a day,
Let's take
less than
what?
£10 a day. By the
Let,
way, that's not
let's
even a
take.
pack of fags. Oh, fuck's
Yeah,
sake!
that's fair enough. Let's take. Yeah, but you're just thinking it as if that's the only cost. It's not the only cost. So they're in a hotel. Let's say there's 100 rooms, like there is in the one 2 miles away from me now. 100 rooms, £100 a room, and they're in it constantly. And as quick as one's out, one's in. It's constantly fun. They're doing
Right?
that for 5-year
Yeah,
contracts.
yeah. But
That's
that's
costing us ridiculous
right.
money.
But
And
that's
at the
the
same
government.
time, we're saying to the old age pensioners, which have paid in for all that time and gone through wars and everything, oh, we can't afford to pay you your heating allowance. The Muslims are sat in nice warm hotels and whatever, eating 3 meals a day for free, but we can't afford to look after our own. What are we doing? What are we actually doing?
When it comes to free meals, I mean, there are lots of different places where you can get a free meal, right? Especially, today and, for quite a few years, by the way. Yeah, but when it comes to actually people, getting basic charity, like, look, the whole thing about the government, that the Tories were, basically doing all of this hotel stuff and everything else. Yeah, they were
Mm.
the kind of first ones to do it. Obviously, they're making a freaking penny for themselves, right? In this whole shenanigan, you get me? Like
Yeah,
this whole thing, they were the ones, and like the Tories, by the way, were the closest to the right. When it comes down to your politics, unless you go further right in Farage territory and even further into other territory, right? But they're the closest mainstream party, but even that's proven to be corrupt. You get me? So they took advantage of the whole immigration thing, and they used immigration, by the way, to distract you from the fact that they're just lining their own pockets.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, if people look back, you can go and research it yourself or whatever. Gordon Bowden did a lot of good work on it. This country has been asset stripped from within years ago. So it's one of them. This country doesn't actually have any money, but we constantly keep finding ways to spend money on people that are not even from here and cannot stand us.
I think this country has got plenty of money. Yeah, when it comes down to it, you just got to
No,
know how to. Yeah, this
we're in
country's
debt.
got.
We're in massive debt. I
We
mean,
are in.
it's only recent that a massive debt's been paid off, hasn't it? We've been paying that debt off as taxpayers for fuck knows how long. Do you know what I mean? The whole time that you've been working, you've been paying that debt off. I've been paying that debt off. Anyone that pays tax has been.
Dude, this country is just turning into a slave economy, right? Where they want, low skilled, low pay workers, like low, earners in that regard. And they, all the money is just going to go to, middle management and obviously the directors and the owners, generally speaking.
Yeah,
That's generally what this country is turning into. And they are deliberately doing that. And the
yeah,
people at the top that are doing that are not immigrants. Yeah, those people, generally speaking, Right, some of them might be immigrants, from
Yeah.
immigrant backgrounds, but majority of them are obviously, your own people, your own English, British, whatever you want to call them,
Mm,
people that have a long lineage in this country. And you go back to aristocracy, the royal family. I mean, what the fuck, the royal family? Do we really have any use for them? No, we don't. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, they could put up all their properties for viewing for the public, and people can pay to go and look around Buckingham Palace or whatever. But they
mm.
don't. They're not needed. I mean, they're a burden to our society. So like the times are changing. You know what I mean? But the actually the royal family are an actual reflection of the corruption that our society basically displays. You know, of
This country's run as a business rather than a country. So
course
it's
it
one of
is.
them. For me, bad business decisions are being made by bringing all these people that are just literally costing us money. The amount of time that they're going to be here before they can legally work or whatever totally outweighs. You know, it would be the worst business decision ever to do what they're doing, but they're doing it regardless.
But at the same time, I mean, there are benefits of being in this country compared to other countries. I mean, you do have a pretty safe haven in terms of like war, for example, right? Like, like if compared to Ukraine, for example, or other war-torn countries, you're in a safe haven. I mean, England is one of the last places to be attacked. I mean, we're an island, for God's
Yeah, but
sakes,
the people that are coming here are not coming here from war-torn countries. There's no war going on, is there? So why are they still coming here?
I mean, they're coming from war-torn countries. I mean, there were wars going on, and there are some still in other
What
places. But
what war's going on in Islamic
I mean,
any
I mean,
Islamic countries?
generally speaking, I mean, even if there were economic, like downfalls, I could look at it as like an economic warfare, where people have no jobs and have no way of making any means of living, any means of earning, and therefore they can't provide, the basics, food, necessities, and shelter for themselves. I mean, they what is the difference then between being in a war-torn country and a place where you have no future? Isn't that the same, to an extent?
Well,
Where
it's
you
one of
don't.
them. They can afford to come on a little boat, paying 3 to 5 grand to get here. So they've obviously got some money. They're not that skint, are they?
Well, they might be on loan as well.
And they
That
were
money.
safe when they was in France. So why didn't they just stay in France?
Yeah, but again, like they have a right, legally to choose where their destination, to claim asylum would be, and if they
That's where
choose
we've gone
to.
wrong, giving them a right. There shouldn't be a given right to come here. You should be able to come here like America, like Australia, because
uh
you've got something about you that we would be of benefit to. So maybe you're a good doctor and you're going to work for the NHS or something like
No,
that.
no. It should make more sense of like, let's just say if I was a refugee and I'm coming from, I don't know, Ukraine, right? But
Uh,
all of my family live in England, right?
yeah.
Like, like wouldn't it make sense for me to claim asylum to live in England? You know what I mean? But to do that, I need to get to England to claim asylum. So I try my best to get over here. Like, what's wrong with that? And then when I
As
get when I
what, a
get my
student?
checks done, I'm like, yeah, I'm, all my family are here. That's why I came here. I speak English, blah blah blah, whatever. Even if I don't, whatever. My family are here. I ain't got
Yeah,
no
but
family in any other country.
if you're coming here and you've more or less got a job lined up or something like that, and you're not going to be a leech on the society, then that won't be a bad thing, would it? But
I mean,
that's not the
there's
case
no,
with these
but
people, is it?
but realistically, there's no guarantee. Like you might have sponsors, you might have people that will vouch for you. Character references. You might have all of that, right? You might even have the best background ever. But tomorrow's another day. You might have a complete fucking breakdown. You might have a health issue. You know what I mean? That might come up. There's no
Yeah.
fucking guarantee,
Yeah, but
then.
then you're a drain on. This is what I mean. What other so let's say you wanted to immigrate from this country. Say Keir Starmer was infringing your rights to speak out or whatever, and you wanted to have refuge somewhere else. Say you wanted to go to America or something. you think they're going to let you go there and go, oh yeah, it's okay, Trilla. Here's a card, you get a tenner a day
So
or a week or whatever it is.
you're
Here's a
saying,
hotel, here's your keys.
yeah,
You've probably been there for the next 11 years, like Belly's guy or whatever. You know, don't worry about it. You don't have to
right.
work. You don't have to do that.
So
Is
are
that?
we looking? Are we doing like what we do in football, for example? You know, we've got to do a full medical, right? And you know, we've got to basically make sure that you're not going to you're going to be fit and healthy to play for our team. You know, otherwise, yeah, we're not going to give you the transfer. Do you know what I mean? Like, like it's literally so it's all dependent. And again, I told you, people could take a turn for the worse in a day. You know, you could pass your full medical, you could be the fittest fucking person in the world and have a heart attack the next day. We've seen football players have heart attacks on the pitch. You know,
I
that's
mean,
super fit.
I've heard yourself and what's his name, Afghan, and I think it was Khan going on about the birth defects because of the cousin marriages and all that, which is predominantly the Pakistan problem, isn't it?
It's
You know what I
actually
mean?
not. So I actually looked into it, right?
Yeah,
When it comes down to it, it's actually quite predominant also in India, right?
yeah.
And other places around the world. Like it's not just Pakistan. There are lots of places around the world where that actually happens.
But that's
But
what I mean. So
you could
when
say
you've got
predominantly it might
yeah,
be Pakistan is definitely probably one of those countries, but
Asian countries, then
it's not exclusive to just Pakistan. Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
happens in India, it happens in Sri Lanka, it
yeah.
happens in lots of different countries. But carry on.
Mainly an Asian problem, in it, that seems to be still happening today. Now, when they come here and they have, it's what I mean. This is basically what you've already said on G. But when they come here and they've got kids and whatever, and they're born with disabilities, we're having to pay for all them, and that runs into ridiculous money per person. There's knock-on effects after knock-on effects. It's just economically not viable for us to do what we're doing. But there seems to be no sense into what's going on.
So, if you're going to talk about economics and expenditure, right?
Yeah,
Like outside of the corruption where the Tories have done with the hotels and everything else, yeah.
yeah.
Like when it come down to it, what is most of the money? Have you actually got the numbers of what we're spending annually and or in a term,
I
in
think it was 10
4 years?
million a day just for the hotels.
Again, I asked you to exclude that, right? Because
Yeah.
we both agreed that that was corruption from the Tories, right, to line their own pockets up. You know what I mean, and their friends and so on,
I think
right?
they're all at it. Labour, the lot,
Right.
all
Well,
of them.
yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Like Labour probably doing their own thing with the whole solar, fucking energy and so on, right? Like they're
Yeah,
doing it in a different way. But like end of the day, and same with like the London mayor Sadiq Khan when he got the ULEZ thing. I
yeah,
mean, didn't he have the cameras coming from a certain company,
yeah,
which obviously what I mean, like probably benefited his people. When I say
yeah,
his people, probably his friends, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
so on. You know what I mean? Same as the Tories done with theirs. You
yeah,
get me?
yeah,
So yeah, there is corruption on lots of different levels, dude. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
definitely, definitely. To
But
me, the
outs
government is the problem. Until you sort the government out and hold them to
yeah.
account for the shit that they've done, these problems are just going to continue and get worse and worse.
But then what? Go to what? As opposed to like, all right, let's just say we fucking join Farage's party, yeah. All right. Let's
Mm.
say they get elected, right?
Mm.
And is that your dream come true?
I can't stand Nigel Farage. I think he's a fucking fraud and a sellout, plastic cunt. Can't stand it.
I mean, well, where do we go, mate? I mean, who else are you gonna vote for?
I honestly don't see voting as a solution to the problem. I really don't. I think you're playing a fixed game where they control what goes on.
But we live in a country that's fucking made up of ballot boxes. I mean, what else you got? There's no
Yeah, but
way of changing anything else.
how many times has it been clocked where they like rigging it and that?
Oh, I mean, has it ever been proven that they've been rigged?
It was with
Really?
Trump and that, wasn't it?
Well, they haven't really proved it. It's allegations, isn't it? And speculation, isn't it, on both sides? I mean,
I'm sure he proved it. I'm sure he did. I'm not mad into politics. It's not my thing. I literally see it as part of the problem, not the solution. So it's not something I'm well up on.
Well, what would be your solution then?
You got to look after your own first. You've got to, if we're going to run it as a business instead of a country, which we do anyway, you've got to start thinking better business decisions. Do you know what I mean? You have people that come here. I'm not saying no more should come here, but we need to be very selective of the people that do come here, and they need to jump through the hoops that they do in America and Australia and whatever. If we don't need you and you're just an Uber driver who's going to probably fucking just do that forever, we don't need it. We really don't need it. You can go and get your own food. It's not a big deal, is it?
I wanna elaborate a little bit more on what your dream and focus is, right? But like, so in that, my second thing would be to that is, so what about all the low life, scumbags that are born and bred in this country? Let's just say, the British, English, whatever people in this country that, just are doing fuck all, just filling up the jail cells and causing trouble in our society. Shouldn't we
Well, there
ship
should be
them out?
things put in place. Like, there's no.
Shouldn't we ship them out? Or instead of them filling up our prisons and us paying more taxes towards.
To
You know what
me,
I
if
mean?
you're able to work, you should be made to work. And if you don't work within 6 weeks, okay, we're going to stop your benefits. We're not paying you to, leech off the country. You've got to be a bit tough. You've got to be.
Right, and then they don't. Then they resort to things like crime
Well,
to
we've got
basically make
prisons for
money.
that. We've got prisons for
Well,
that. Make them tougher. Remove the TVs. Take all the PlayStations away. Have them breaking rocks up fucking for a few hours a day. Make it a punishment.
but then our prisons are full right now, right?
Yeah, but they're
So
too soft. They're too soft, Trilla. Prison
right,
isn't a deterrent at
we
all.
got nowhere to put them, like literally. So we're basically just we're putting them in an environment where they're gonna fail, right?
Do you know
And
the new law now, Trilla? If you get 2 years or something, you end up doing 28 days and that's it, you're back out. So you could go and rob someone's house now, get caught, get convicted, get 2 years, and within 28 days you'd be out.
yeah, put on house arrest or something. Yeah, I know.
Mad, isn't it?
That's
There
what
is
happened to
there is
my. That's
no
what happened to my.
deterrent.
But yeah, that's what happened to my burglar. I mean, not literally 24 hours they were let out, but
But that counts
after,
for everything. So if
yeah,
you're a
yeah,
paedophile and you've just been caught messing about and you've been stung or whatever, you might get 2 years, but you're going to be hitting the street again in 28 days. This is the problem.
it's a massive problem, dude. I mean, at least like I always respected the French thing where like they had the legionnaires, right?
Yeah.
Where at least prisoners had an opportunity to fucking, what I mean, go out
Yeah.
there and fight, and
Yeah.
they'd probably send you into some of the toughest confrontations. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like in that, you're front line if you're a legionnaire, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
years ago, you used to have apprenticeships from you leaving school and all that. Why's all that? Why's all that disappeared and whatever? It's mad.
yeah,
To build infrastructure, that's what you need. You need to get them straight away from leaving school into a job. You don't want them
but
hanging about with the mates and getting in trouble and all this
but
shit.
dude,
Yeah,
you can appreciate that. Look, this country and a lot of other countries are also going to follow suit if they haven't already. That
yeah,
they're going to maximize on their own profits, people at the top, and they're just going to fucking keep us, the rest of us, at the bottom. They're going to try and eradicate middle class completely, right? And it would
yeah.
just be, high and low. That's it. There won't
I
be an
just,
in.
I just think before we even get to the next point where you can vote, I think we're going to turn from civil unrest to full on fucking riots where lots of people get murdered or whatever. I can
But
see it coming.
but see, isn't that sort of inevitable with the system that we have in place, with this democratic
Yeah,
system, with
yeah.
this whole what do they call it? What's the C word? This when it comes to the economy, like what kind of economy do we have? A bit slow
Fucking
today,
shit ones.
but fucking hell, I was gonna say not commercial, uh, whatever, man. But like, yeah, it is what it is, man. I mean, generally speaking. Yeah, we're doomed to fail. I mean, generally, you're just going to get the rich people just buying up everything,
Yeah.
and that leaves everybody else with fuck all. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yeah.
we need to have it as a tax because they haven't sorted out the loopholes,
No,
when it and everything else where people can protect their wealth by
yeah,
putting their money in other countries. So generally speaking, I mean, we the country, the government, and everybody else doesn't give a shit about you, me, or the rest of us. Then we're out here just to try and make ends meet in whatever way we can,
yeah,
legally speaking.
yeah, yeah. This is the problem, though, isn't it? The more money they can save elsewhere, it's just going to give them more money to spend on more hotels and more whatever. You know what I mean? We're looking at numbers that we've never ever seen before. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
for immigration, and the country itself just can't handle the numbers, the sheer numbers that are coming. And there's
So
the
yeah, so
people that are saying,
you're not blaming the immigrants, you're blaming the system.
I'm blaming both, to be honest. I'm blaming the system mainly because it's one of them. They're just making bad decisions, which are putting a strain on everybody else that has been born here, been putting money into the country. People's parents, grandparents, and whatever may have fought in the wars for it, and it's you know what I mean. You can't have someone just come straight away and go, "Oh right, we've all got the same rights. We're all equal." Are we fuck? Are we fuck? Not on any fucking level. On any day of the week,
No,
are
I
we
mean
equal?
it's called human rights. I think we have equal human rights.
That's not. To me, it's bullshit. Not everyone is equal. Some people are
No,
just
we
literally.
don't.
No.
What are we dehumanizing people now? Then, or is that what we're doing?
Well, if you act like that, people are going to treat you like that, and it is what it is. If you think as part of your cult that you're above everybody else, everyone else is the shit beneath your feet. Whatever your right arm possesses, they can fucking take and whatever and all this shit. You're the best of peoples.
Mm.
There's a problem in
Uh,
it, and then when you
yeah.
come in here without anything and you want everything for free, and then you still, there's people that have come here. They've been here a month, and they're already on the internet trying to fucking meet 11-year-old girls and all this. It's littered with them.
Yeah, I don't.
We've
I
got
don't.
over
I
100
don't
pedo hunter teams that are intercepting these things every day. The police aren't doing that.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, the word earlier I was looking for was capitalist. So big up Lou, Sminch. It's a bit of a strange surname, but okay. Yeah, capitalist was the word I was looking for. But it is quite late. I mean, I've been up fucking since 6 in the morning.
Mm,
Early today. I've been fucking at work all day, and yeah, I've been busy, man. So and it's 2 in the morning, and I got to wake up again, fucking six
mm,
o'clock. But Dan, before we go, I mean, I just wanted to last thing elaborate a little bit more on your vision for the UK. I mean, what do you think, Dan Tarragon? If you could make this country a better place, not
mm.
even asking you how to do it, just what kind of things, top of your head, do you think, would just
Close the
automatically
borders.
change it?
Close the borders today. Remove everybody that's here illegally, and let us start to float to the surface rather than sink, and figure things out. The people that deserve to be here, yeah, stay. If you're a doctor and you're doing well or whatever, cool, stay. If you're fucking, an illegal that came here on a boat or whatever, off you fuck. See you later. Shouldn't be here. He was a criminal from day one. You're probably going to go on to be a criminal. You may turn to a terrorist because of your ideology. You got to go. Simple as that. You got to
Well,
go.
what about somebody that was born here? Yeah, that's a career criminal
Yeah.
compared to somebody who's here for a day.
Prison.
That who
Prison.
came illegally. That's a doctor.
Prison. We've got prisons for criminals, haven't we?
No, but I'm just saying, right? So like, but our prisons are full. Let's just say, right? So
Yeah, but
like,
how full are they of people that shouldn't be here? That's what I'm saying. They're costing us money even when they're in prison.
generally, let's assume they're full. They are full, by the way, right now,
They
right?
are, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like when it come down to like, if we got the choice between what do we do? Do we get rid of the doctor, right? Who's like come here illegally,
It
or
was a
do
doc.
we?
It was a doctor that blew up the airport in Scotland. So they're not just because he's a doctor don't mean he's not a terrorist. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. It comes down to what is the ideology of these people. If I say to you, there's purple people that want to come here or whatever, but there's a bit of a problem. Their ideology is everything that's polar opposite of what you're about, and they actually can't stand you and would like to blow you up anytime they get a chance or whatever. How many do we want here, realistically, knowing what we know? We weren't told what they know. It's only
Yeah,
through people like Tommy
but
Robinson that we now know what they actually know and what
no,
they're
oh
about.
my fucking hell, Dad. Oh
It
my
is.
word.
It is. If it weren't for people like Tommy, a lot of people would be in the dark because the news ain't telling you shit, are they?
Dad,
Don't
look,
look back
mate,
in anger after the kids are blown up and shit. It's fucked up.
with fucking hell, then without me fucking going, I mean, into detail about anything about Tommy, right? We know. Look, we've proven Tommy's a grifter. Like, this is a
He
guy.
makes money from it, but I don't knock him
But
for
hold
that.
on, a second. He's making money,
Yeah.
spending it on fucking coke binges, fucking hookers, while he's supposed to
No,
be
he
a
said that
married
because he
man.
didn't want to pay that little tramp Jamal, didn't he?
No, dude, he gave all of his money assets to his wife.
Good
He
on him.
divorced.
Good on him.
But hold on. Now, who's literally manipulating the system, which
Uh,
you are totally against?
Yeah, but he's not costing the taxpayer any money. Before Tommy started doing what he was doing
Yes.
now, he had businesses and houses. Do you know what I mean? The police
Hold on.
fucked all that up.
How could you say he's not costing? He went to court. Yeah,
Yeah,
that costs money, right?
yeah, but
That
he has to
going to
pay.
court.
He
No,
has
but
to
go
pay
to
his solicitors and shit.
but,
He don't.
but
He don't do
right,
it for
right.
free.
But end of the day, right? When it comes down to it, he's trying to get out of all of that by trying to like give all of that money to his wife that he divorced, so that she
Yeah.
wouldn't be liable to pay anything. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at the same time, he's fucking hookers, which is basically,
That
what you
was an
call it, like,
excuse not to pay. It's one of
no,
them.
no,
How
no,
can
no,
you,
dude.
if you've got
There's
100 grand there that you need to explain away? What's the easiest way? Oh, cocaine and strippers. Because it's not like you've got a receipt for any of it, is it? So it's just money that you've had and money that's gone. It's the easiest way to
but,
just blog
but
it and go, yeah, it's gone, that money.
right, but dude, we all can see that that guy is a drug abuser, right? Like we can all see it. He
I
does
don't think
cocaine.
so. He
Yeah,
might,
well,
if
he
if
looks
he
like
does, he
it,
does. But
right?
what would that change?
It
What
it
what Tommy's actually pointing out and proving step by step, which he has done for years, and everything's come
right.
to fruition. I'd rather adjust the message rather than look at the messenger's history and what he does and what he doesn't do. It's not important. Is
Dude,
the message what he's saying correct? Yes or no? And it is.
okay. So it is important because, right, if that person is just using that message to just make money on for their own personal fucking habits, yeah, and fund their own personal habits like prostitution and cocaine, right, and other fucking binge parties, getting drunk and doing whatever, yeah,
Well,
like on basically trying to manipulate the fucking the general public, that what he's trying to do is charitable and trying to be on a good cause thing, then yeah, it's a problem then. You know what I mean?
hope not hate grift all the time. Why do people not like point that out?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure a lot of people point him out. You
He
know what
was
I mean?
asking for 50 grand last time, while they still had 50 grand from the previous thing or whatever. They are the biggest grifters out here.
Yeah, but again, it's when it comes down to it, dude, it doesn't make two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah. So Tommy is wrong for doing what he's doing. Why support someone like him? You could always get somebody else. Yeah. If you're so fundamental, if you're so fucking, if you really do care about the cause that you're talking about, surely you would get somebody who's not got that history with substance abuse and fucking, you know what I mean,
I don't think we're
exploitation of
going to get
women,
anybody
right?
perfect, Trilla. There's
I
always
mean,
going to
dude,
be something
you
to
don't need to
everybody,
be
isn't there?
fucking Den. See the extremes that you go on. I'm not saying you need someone perfect. I'm just saying you don't need somebody who's blatantly abusing substances and exploiting fucking young women. Yeah, when he's supposed to be fucking protecting young women, right? And fucking not
How do you
spending his
work
money
that
on
one out,
drugs.
Trilla, that he's exploiting women, though? The cases that he's put forward are only because the police have done nothing with them cases. So at that point, there's nothing to lose. So you put them cases forward and show the public this is what they've done. This is where the police have failed or whatever. You've got to think GMP have admitted and apologised for 40 years of failures and fuck ups to the victims and survivors. So
Yeah, I'm not denying the police haven't done their job properly. For God forbid.
Tommy's
I,
giving them the only bit of justice that they're going to get. Because other
again,
than that, they was never going to get in there.
dude,
It's that simple.
right? But again, I mean, you might be willing to believe that he's, not, fucked any hookers and, what I mean, like had his own group of people take advantage of grooming victims, regardless that they have matured. When it comes to their
Danny
age,
Tomo. Yeah, I don't
you know.
like Danny
Yeah,
Tomo. I think what he did was in bad taste, but it
yeah,
weren't
but you know what?
illegal
You
or
you you
whatever.
might.
Like,
It doesn't matter. You might not like Danny Tomo, but I tell you who does like Danny Tomo. Tommy Robinson likes Danny
yeah, yeah.
Tomo.
Well,
Yeah,
it's one of them. I mean, even with people that I don't like, it's one of them. I still have to think, well, at least he's bringing attention to the issue or whatever, whether he's making money off it or whatever.
yeah.
I don't
It
mean I
brings
don't have to
attention that
like him
these are
personally.
literally taking advantage of their fucking fact that they're trying to help people, but they're not. They're helping themselves.
Yeah, but
Quite
it costs
literally.
money to do these things. I mean, you think Danny Tomo or whatever? I don't like him, but he could, he could have a decent job. He could be
But dude,
earning
first
his
they're
own money
taking,
and whatever.
yeah, but they are taking advantage, right, of freaking, you know what I mean, people's money, right, in terms of donations, and then they're literally taking advantage of grooming victims. I mean, how low can you go?
To me, like I say, proper bad taste. If it was me personally and I was Tommy and whatever, I'd have gone ape shit at him. He wouldn't be near anything else again. But it is what it is, isn't it?
Right, but then there's been allegations of what you call it, and I call it allegations because obviously I haven't looked into it properly. But then some other people that Tommy Robinson collaborates with, some of his other right hand men, in his group, have also been convicted pedophiles. Like, what the fuck is that all about?
I've only heard whispers and whatever, but it just seems to be bullshit from the Hope Not Hate agents.
Okay.
I'm not seeing any evidence of anything, but it's one of them. You could start a movement now and you want to keep it as clean as you can and you're going to burn a Nazi flag with 10 black guys to show that it's not racist and all that. How can you stop a paedophile joining? Do you think they're going to join and go, oh, by the way, Trilla, they're not going to say that, are they?
Do you think though that what Tommy Robinson is the best that you can fucking get? You know what I mean? Out of all the people, right, that might support your movement, he's the best you got.
Well, it could be, for me, it could be anyone. If you was doing what Tommy's doing, we'd all be cheering Trilla, wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean? But it's not. It's just Tommy doing it.
Dude, no,
To
but
me, it's not about the person. It's about, is this
all I'm saying
person
is
saying a true
maybe
message?
all I'm
Is what
saying
they're
is
saying correct?
all I'm saying is yeah, if he was to do a drug test, he'd pass, and if you and to not have a fucking criminal record, I mean, is that too much to ask?
For me, it doesn't make a difference.
It makes a difference to you, to the rest
Uh,
of the world. It makes a fucking difference, dude. You look at job applications, for example,
no,
right?
but look at his
Yeah,
criminal history. What is it realistically? I
yeah, but
mean,
generally, right. So, if you were employing people, right, would you
yeah,
choose somebody who doesn't have a criminal record, that don't do drugs, right? As in, like they're gonna pass their drug test,
yeah.
or somebody who's fucking on drugs that literally is, what I mean, and has a criminal record. Do you get me? Like, not just one or two convictions either, quite a
Depends
few.
how many people are looking to take the job, innit? There's not many people
Yeah, but
looking to put themselves as a
you
target, an
know,
enemy of the state, and putting the family in danger every day. There's
yeah,
not
but
many people up for
yeah,
that job.
generally speaking, it would be better to employ the person. You know what I mean? That hasn't got all
Yeah,
that crap
in
on the
an
record.
ideal world, but we're far from an ideal world, aren't we? We're at a
Yeah.
point where it's run to shit, and anyone that points out the problems is getting fucking attacked, made an enemy of the state, put in
Nah,
prison for all sorts.
not at all. I think you're dismissing the fact that he was actually targeted because of his fucking failings and wrongdoings that he personally had done. You know what I mean? And when it comes to you supporting an individual like that, you're not helping your cause or
No.
anybody else.
Right, so if you was being investigated for something now, say you was speaking out against something, I don't know, whatever, and they was looking into you, and then they go, oh, we can't really find much on him. We're going to have to look into his family. Oh, here you go. His missus has been selling shit on Facebook. Has she paid the tax? Oh, she hasn't. Right, we're going to hold that. There's been a mortgage signed for, and they claim that they're earning X amount of money when they're not. You know, the house has been paid for, but they still lied on a form. That's the things that they've gone for. You know what I mean? They've played dirty. You only play dirty like that to shut someone down. You're not playing on an even playing field, and you're not treating them like anybody else. You know what I mean? Just look at that. What he's just been sent down for. It was a fucking civil offence. A civil offence. There's no examples anywhere of anybody else ever going to a maximum security prison for a civil offence. Most people would be on a tag, house arrest, whatever. You know, there's certainly no examples of anybody going to maximum security jail and being treated like he was. There isn't any examples. That is attacking the person to silence him.
It is what it is then. I mean, look, I'm going to leave you with the last day there. I've got work tomorrow, dude. So, yeah,
Before
don't be
you go,
a
Trilla,
Yeah.
I know you're in agreement that you want, you know, you're happy for people to keep coming here. Is there a point in time where you would say, right, now is enough, let's turn off that tap while we deal with what's going on? Is there any amount, you know, is there a limit?
Everyone has a limit then. Everyone has a limit.
So what would be your limit?
Well, fucking turn up, innit? We fucking might get there, innit? We'll see, innit? You might be able to push me to that limit in terms of, you know, the amount of information you might give to me. I might
Yeah.
tell you, well, that's my limit, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah, let's discover it, innit? And let's see how
yeah,
it
yeah.
goes.
Fair enough, Trevor.
All right. So do your homework then. All right.
You too.
All right. All right. We got
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Take it easy, mate. Stay safe.
Peace. All right, people, man. Let's call it a night. Big up Den for jumping on. Had a good combo. Kept me entertained. Yeah, I mean, kept me awake. So yeah, let's call it a night. I'm gonna leave you with a little something. You get me? This one's called White Rabbit. Follow the White Rabbit.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small. And the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall. And if you go chasing rabbits, and you know you're going to fall, tell him my hookah smoking caterpillar has given you the cold, cold Alice when she was just small. When the men on the chessboard get up and tell you where to go, and you have just had some kind of mushroom, and your mind is moving low, go ask Alice, I think she'll know. Logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead, and the white knight is talking backwards, and the red queen's off with her head. Remember what the Dharma said. Feed your head. Feed your head. Feed your head.